That's like the second time. But let the record show that Alex was sitting here in this corner, and the way that she got hurt was through the table, by the table, with her own doing.
It was not my fault. It was the table's fault, of course.
Of course. Twice, too.
Do you
Twice.
find yourself living in this world where everything is everybody else's fault, but you never see, you never hear the person taking accountability? Or the entities taking accountability?
Too
Or the
much of that.
politicians taking accountability?
So many.
Or mainstream media taking accountabilities? All of a sudden, we are witnessing the great rewrite.
And guess what? We happen to all be main characters in this big rewrite. So whether you like it or not, or felt prepared to be a part of this revolution, evolution, expansion,
And
you are.
revisionist history, you're witnessing it
You
live
are.
and in living color.
And here we are. Welcome to this week's Crystal Sage Wisdom episode 8, mi gente, the number of infinity. This is Alex, and this is.
I'm not drinking apple juice raw.
Oh, you gave yourself like a rap name or something. I'm not drinking apple juice raw.
Do so responsibly. We're not gonna mention unless we get a sponsorship. I don't know if I would support, but just
Mira, mi gente, all I gotta say is that it is happy hour somewhere.
and we are practicing being more happy community members. Ay, pero esto se me está cayendo. I gotta adjust.
We are in a secret location out and about in Brooklyn, New York. And I, however, am having my morning coffee because I'm like, I don't know about any of you, but before we jump into our topic of accountability, how has everybody been sleeping? I would like just a little quick check-in. Are you guys sleeping well? Are you waking up restful, feeling rested? Are you dreaming? Are you remembering your dreams? Because I will tell you, I feel like when I do sleep, I'm so busy at night. Like I feel like I'm going God knows where, doing God knows what, and it's just such active dreams, and I'm waking up and I'm feeling it. Like if I've been working all night. What about you? How has your dream time experience been?
Unforgettable. No. Well, it's been forgettable because I know that I'm having experiences and that they're active. Some of them feel like I'm in a movie. But like you said, we're the main characters. Sometimes in these dream times, I find myself getting in trouble and being in places where people who get in trouble go to. Say no to quarantine camps.
Oh, you mean the free education institutions?
And it's not fake news that there are people committed to making it their business to re-educate you. You heard it first. A New York stands together, PSA.
Bueno, comment down below. Let us know how your dreams and dreamtime experience has been for you.
Well, how has it been for you? What have you been learning? Have you been enjoying yourself? Are you traveling on vacations?
No, I'm not traveling on vacation, and I'm not enjoying it. That is the point. Like I feel like they just got me. I feel like they just got me on some like mission-oriented
Do you see her?
situations.
Is she gonna try to punch me?
Mission-oriented situations, and I'm just like all over the place. And then you and I are in dream time all the time, and some of our community members at that. So
Hello, see you in dream time.
So I don't know if it's because we're all being re-educated. I don't know. I don't know.
It's not even funny. Why did
It's
you
like funny,
say
not
that?
funny. Funny, not funny.
Even though I brought it up in a sense.
Listen, mi gente, I don't know if you're into dreams and dreaming, but I know people look at dreams and dreaming from different angles and believe it to be different things. Some people will simply just think it is a review of your day. Others, you know, the other spectrum would be that people feel that they travel, it's a multi-dimensional space, and then everything in between. I believe that when I dream, it is a very multi-dimensional experience. It is the one time where we don't even have ego leading it. It is a space where I feel so many things happen. Sometimes you really are just resting. Sometimes you're healing while you're in these deep levels of sleep. Sometimes you're releasing emotion. Sometimes you're getting messages and guidance and visions, and for those of you, let's say maybe who are like Christian, some of you would maybe say they're prophetic dreams, or visions, right? It's the same thing, being guided, being shown something that may or may not happen as a form of accuracy or preparation, or just setting you up for what can come, or for you what you're gonna face, or giving you the opportunity to have time to prep for what you're gonna face. But in any case, a lot of people around the world have a lot of sensitivities when it comes to their relationship with dreams and dreaming. And personally, I feel that it is a very important part of every human because, well, first of all, sleep is one of the most important healing mechanisms. And two, I also feel that it is one of the most important ways that you do get guided. And sometimes it's not doesn't have to be so dramatic as something's gonna happen in the world. Sometimes it's simply your dream guiding you to understand what you're really feeling within you. Like whatever you may be going through. Maybe it could just be that warning for yourself, like highlighting, like, hey, you gotta slow down, or hey, this is what's really going on, or hey, you gotta face something. So oftentimes it's just your very own compass, your very own inner guidance that when you really pay attention to, you will see can be so instrumental in your life. And so for me, dreams have been like that my whole life. And um, lately, they've just been really active, and it can be exhausting. I don't know.
What the audience wants to know, including your sister, is why did you start like this? It reminded me of the energy of the cat that just crossed us in the street.
That's right.
It looked in the face like you did just
It's like
before when you went like
pissed.
this.
I mean, and the thing was, the cat was, which
Como now?
to my sister's point, had just said that we actually haven't seen random cats walking by us, or specifically cross our path. Um, and this cat had the most piercing, most gorgeous light green eyes, but it was pissed. Like the expression, the frown, we were like,
It had the face like, try me, bitch.
yep.
Try me.
And we were like, we're not trying
It would
you.
probably pause and smack us in the face.
We're not trying you. At first, we were like, oh, how? No.
No,
We
no.
were like,
And before that, so it's very interesting, right? Because everything in the universe is always talking to us in dream time. The Toltecs do say that that's another reality. And the Toltecs, too, also say that the plants and animals are not in the same dream that we are in, right? They're in like a more in a fuller reality than us humans. I think it's because we're reawakening and remembering, and in this 3D experience, when we're with the plants and animals, and even a mosquito that's driving you crazy, we've learned from indigenous teachers that those are perfect times to sort of pay attention. So, for example, one winter, like, or fall afternoon, we were in this location and we were indoors, but there was a mosquito jodiendo la pita. And as I was getting annoyed at the mosquito flying around and I wanted to swat it, the indigenous man was saying if there is any form of life in the indoor space, even if it's as tiny as the mosquito, pay attention to it because it's revealing something to you. And including the bee that many of us run away from.
Are
I've
so afraid
learned
of.
to become more steady in the bee's presence, and I realized that there are times when a bee will come and hover around when in a time where I'm craving a deep, nourishing mama honey.
Oh,
And the
that's
other
so
day,
sweet.
as I was applying makeup in my tiny bathroom, the biggest bumblebee with the biggest butt came in through a tiny crack in my tiny bathroom. And I had to practice that medicine really fast because my go to is start screaming hysterically and run out. And I was just breathing
Mi gente,
carefully.
it's true.
Yeah, my sister has witnessed these things. But
But
you
you
know,
faced it.
yeah, but one thing that I wanted to mention in terms of the power animals is sort of like, uh, the we all have power animals, and definitely for the shirt that I'm wearing, when I put it on this morning, I thought about one of our indigenous teachers, and I thought about her medicine. I thought about the power animals, and then as I was getting ready for this, and I put on earrings that always remind me of just being more present. The urban medicine woman in me, botanical, all of these sort of things that are coming around again. Um, this old school vibe, this energizing of in the neighborhood that also is energized by newcomers too. So you have people that have no choice but to be paying more attention, and while there's been things that like high crime that nobody appreciates and mopeds
Yeah.
running people over nobody appreciates, there is an aliveness to the city that felt like a ghost town, especially 2021, 2022.
Yep.
And this year, knock on wood, it's just feeling really energized, really like delicious, really, really magnetic. And as I'm walking down the street, feeling connected to sort of just our medicine in a sense. And I'm thinking about our dogs. And I had two dogs that passed away, this like back to back, as we were closing the Champ Botanical. So it was
That
a
was a tough
hard,
year. Tough
and
year.
that late summer to early winter was so hard. But anyway, before we saw the cat, we saw a, a slightly bigger version of my mini pin, a brown one.
So cute.
And I knew that that was like an energetic message. And how is that energetic message? Well, when I think back, and I'm sure my sister will share too, as to what has been happening recently in my personal life without me divulging too much, is that, I feel like I recently graduated from yet another lesson of just adulting. And pretty much that is just standing up for yourself with boldness and grace.
Being accountable for yourself and taking accountability in that moment of you, standing up for yourself. It's like they go hand in hand, right? Like on one level, you have to build up the ability, the confidence, and the comfort to be able to even advocate, right, for yourself, or stand up for yourself, or express yourself. But part of that is that in reality, we are supposed to. It is an accountability for ourselves, right? Like I said, we'll always say, like a broken record. The PEREZ sisters are always gonna recommend you gotta start from within out.
And you got to
And
be sure of what it is. So when I was
yeah,
saying standing up for myself with grace, I run hot. And my sister knows many times, and we'll talk about it in other episode, when we've experienced community members that have tried to challenge us, I have literally just paused. Where are you going? Home. I'm going to go on a meditation walk right now. Why? Oh, please don't try to stop me, lady. I don't think it's going to be to your best interest if you try to stop me from trying to go on this meditation walk. But she didn't listen. And So fire was released, and she didn't
There you
like
go.
it the way it came out. So in this reincarnation, had I been redoing that um, story, I would have met this person at the place where I had already taken my meditation walk. And so I've released the emotional charge
Mm.
of what I was feeling. And if anybody's wondering, this was a professional setting, so no, I did not get loud. I didn't curse anybody out. I was very professional and respectful. And there are ways to communicate precisely your distaste for something
Right.
in a way that will leave people in a place where they'll think twice about crossing that boundary again. And I know for me, I don't like getting to that place, even if exteriorly it doesn't look like anything dramatic happened, but inside, you feel the temperatures rise, right? And that's still not healthy.
No.
So I feel like the grace part is, after the contemplation walk, after the meditation walk, then you have the conversation. You try to communicate as you can. It's hard to communicate, especially with difficult to communicate with people, but with especially with people who are combative, especially with people who don't take accountability for what you're bringing up, especially for people who run away. Hey, I'm a professional. I want to avoid this topic. Runaway person. Life teaches you that you have to sit through some of those discussions, especially for the sake of maybe a relationship, for the sake of saving a friendship, for the sake of maybe learning a lesson. They're not easy times, but when you do it in a place with love and gentleness, or like how me and my sister, we, if we have to communicate something that we don't like, we're not gonna do it in public. We're not gonna throw that energy out there and share with other people because it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
And then we're intoxicating other people's environments. Then we're making it bigger than it is.
Mm-hmm.
We could handle it, but you know what most people don't do in the taking accountability part is that they never talk about it. And then they explode.
Yeah, it builds
And then
up.
they almost kill you with that explosion.
It builds up, or like whatever did not get resolved will just continue happening because, well, it wasn't resolved. So that means that whatever maybe needed to shift or change or whatever needed to be, you know, done in a different way or should have been, it'll just get repeated. This is why we all walk around with patterns, right? Like things that we just always freaking do, and sometimes we do it even not even as conscious about it because it becomes so second nature within our life, within how we operate, that we don't even realize, hey, I'm walking around with some problems here in how I navigate certain things or how I respond or not respond because, well, my ass never sat down and actually dealt with stuff or actually took accountability for, well, there's stuff that I have to heal or shift or change. Um, and that is a very big process and not easy from any angle, right? Not easy for the person that has to look at themselves, or which is all of us at some point, right? We all gotta look at ourselves and be like, ugh, I got some work to do. But also not easy for the people that gotta work with you within your pattern, right? Especially if it's unhealthy or not conducive or just creates some sort of frequency that's never productive. So if you're on the other side, it's not easy either. And especially if when you're trying to communicate it to each other, it's like having two different languages, right? Because we always understand things at the point of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes it so difficult in today's world because we've become like our reality around the world, our day to day like living and lifestyle, our culture, like we've become so polarized in so many things and in so many ways that things that you would have thought are simple
They're not
conversations,
simple
you know, that you're
conversations.
trying to have with someone, you're like yo, they and you're looking at them, you're getting upset, like why don't you fucking understand what I'm telling you, like that.
Ay,
And
Dios mío.
I Dios mío, and then come to find out, well, they don't understand that understanding of what you're saying because they're at a different point in the
Oops.
path, and so the way they're visioning, the way they're understanding it is what they're able to understand in that moment, what they've experienced, what work they've done or not done, what you know how open or not open they are. And so when people say I feel like I'm talking a different language, like in some capacities you really are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like two people really talking a different language. So when you're in that situation, what do you do? What do you do when you're in that
I was
situation?
gonna bite your little finger.
Not even the beers is satiating her fuego. It's been a week.
No, but check it. But the reason we were brought up the dog and the cat and Dreamtime and connecting it is because we have connection and we're looking for it, right? Everything's hidden in plain sight. Everybody has their own language with the universe. So we're sharing a little bit of how we perceive it, even though we read it sometimes a little bit differently because we're in different bodies, and that's okay. We get
Absolutely.
to a lot of the same information in different ways, maybe a little faster, slower, but it doesn't matter
Depending on the situation,
depending
yeah.
on the situation. And my sister and I have learned to accept, and this is a big one, respect what's her strength. She respects what's my strength. And she respects herself enough eh, to bow out of situations just like I do if I'm not going to be, my energy field is not going to participate in the exchange. So when I was mentioning the person who didn't allow me to go on a little meditation walk and they received my energetic fire, at that moment, my sister, she saw the mathematica. She's my sister. She knows what's going on. She saw that I was trying to avoid the situations.
1 + 1 was 5.
And she was like, I'm bowing out because this is not mine. And that was okay, but she also felt like she knew I was going to be able to be okay, just like a mosquito is
Yeah.
driving me nuts right now.
Also, there's, well, I respect my sister and I really trust. We don't always agree on everything. We're very, very different in many ways. Um, and trust me, we do not hesitate to tell each other when we do not agree on each other's actions, words, decisions, or even how we navigate situations with other people. Like we'll be like, "Yo, you were wrong," you know. We're very comfortable in that way. However, I'm also very comfortable in really respecting my sister and understanding that there are situations that a are not mine, and on one end, but from another end, it's she the she in that moment she needs to go through that experience and whether or not that was triggered out from her, whether or not she was the one leading the situation, but it was just something that obviously the train left the station, and now it's just a matter of how she's going to handle it. And sometimes you also got to give people space in understanding and respecting that she's still a grown-ass woman. She's making a decision, and this is something that she's
And because we do business and so much of what we do is in public, you guys have to understand that it takes a great amount of trust for her to trust me in that sense, because it's a two section trust. She's got to trust. She's trusting herself enough to. This is not the heat that I'm trying to participate in. She also trusts me enough to understand that my sister's fire has been activated, and I gotta allow her to express it and not try to control it or control her messaging at this point.
Yeah, because it's
especially
not
because
exactly because it's
especially because it had to do with business.
yeah.
Especially because it had to do with someone who's crossing the line and disrespecting us, and also disrespecting our customers, and also making everybody uncomfortable. So in this particular situation, disrespecting of two business women, um, there was already a person inside the shop that was feeling uncomfortable, and then there was the person that she was talking
It's a
to
lot
that
of
was feeling.
wrongs.
So there was a lot of wrongs that I had already, you know, happened once, happens twice, shame on me. This was the third time my sister didn't know that this person had crossed boundaries. And so now it was times for the conversation, even though I was still trying to take a meditation walk. Now, on the flip side, there's been moments where there's been somebody whose energetic presence has been too much for me to manage in my energetic field. And those are moments where we understand where her strength is and where my strength is, because at that moment I can't handle that person's, whatever's coming out of that person's energy field. It's almost making me feel like intoxicated in a poisonous, I'm gonna throw up, I'm dizzy kind of way. And there are moments where in those settings where she's more grounded, she can withstand, she has a bigger wall, and then I trust myself to bow out. I trust her to know how to manage it. And so then you learn, and we're very different, right? And people who hang out with us notice that right away. Sometimes they don't understand the way we communicate, because I'm an Aries. I communicate fast and short, and if you don't know me, you might think that I'm being a bitch. My sister knows me. She knows my insides better than anybody else.
And because I also have fire, and I can be incredibly stingy. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it could come out very intense. So if you're not used to that being around me, and you're hearing us back and forth, you may be like, "What's going on?" But we're so used to
Right,
each
you
other.
think that we're having like,
Yeah, you think
there's some tension in the
right.
air.
You think that I'm just being mad rude to her, or you think that she's being. We've had people that have gotten triggered, like, "Oh my God, why you talk to each
You
other
just
like that?" Oh my
talk
God.
to her. But the thing is that
But we're like,
but we never even
we know each other, so it's like
we don't even get bassy or nasty.
it's just like
Sometimes
we
when I
just say it
irritate
because
her
we're
like a
honest,
mosquito, she just gives me like a certain look.
I literally just like
Will give me a look.
I just almost like you build this. It's almost like listen. For example, all your mothers out there, you've learned this sense that you got to build up, where you learn how to be incredibly present in the situation and just sort of ignore certain voices or behaviors. And so, sometimes with my sisters in
Tantrumy mode.
not necessarily tantrum or whatever.
I mean, you have heard me screaming.
If my sister's going
scream,
through like
scream
I'm a
things
little
that-
bit too much time, I could sit here and be 100% comfortable, completely unfazed by her, because part of it is like, well, I'm not letting it into my energy field.
And also, she's allowing me to be me.
But I'm still hearing her. I'm still present, but in the same way I would with my own children. Like I do that all the time. My daughter mentions it all the time. Like, mom, you're ignoring me. I'm like, yes, I am. But not really,
She
because
just
I'm actually.
confessed to you guys that she ignores me.
In reality, I'm not, because my senses are very tapped in, but I'm just not letting you enter my frequency, and this is why.
That's how you start building resistance for each
Exactly.
other. Now, what would be wrong
And towards
is
situations.
now
as
what
well.
would be, and something that I've practiced, right? But even when we were growing up, this didn't happen too much, because we really didn't have a relationship where we fought. It wasn't until maybe college that we were getting
Like maybe a little snippy, but
snippy,
it wasn't
because
even
we were
like
growing into who we were as adults.
right. We were exploring
We were
and
having
figuring
growing
ourselves
pains.
out. Yeah, yeah.
But pretty much it's always been like real chill, real easy.
And we
we're
have
very
another
different.
sibling.
And we have another sibling.
Same
We're
way.
very different. Why are we spending so much time telling you about how different we are? Because do you know how many freaking people have a problem and are just fixated on controlling how you say, what you say, how you say it? My sister was making a joke of a comment I missed on social media. I posted a freedom of speech rant It's a freedom of, of speech, rant.
You
And
shall
what did the
have
person
no freedom.
and I how many times do you hear me cursing on any of our platforms? Not even 1%.
Yeah, so the comment was essentially saying, can you say what you're saying without cursing? Listen,
This is my
we get it.
response. Yet.
And listen, we get it. Like, sure, if she was like a freaking, she had a sailor mouth all the time, I understand. Pero, hey, you're an adult, and sometimes, like, that's just what's gonna come out, you know?
And it is proven that people who curse have a higher articulation, a higher intelligence, critical thinking kind of mind. Try cursing once in a while. What we don't recommend is cursing at people. Sometimes they might deserve it. But my sister and I don't, we as much as we can, we're not throwing heat at each other. And even
No.
when we were growing up, and even when I was having my dramatic tantrums, I wasn't throwing it at her. That's different because then that's like a
And
lot
that-
of siblings have to work through that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like
they don't right,
cattiness.
they can't tell. But again, I feel like it's also been, like family. It's a testament to like we've done, our other life has been spending many years within the spiritual metaphysical world and working with people and working with many different teachers on a personal level, but then also with people. So, the truth is that after so many years of, and still ongoing, because I always say I'm a teacher and a student simultaneously forever, right? Because there's always something that you're going to be able to develop or strengthen or work on. But I feel that one of the reasons why we are so comfortable with each other, why we can, just kind of hold each other, be a container for each other's moments, especially when they're intense, or within the community, because we do this all the time for people. That's what we've done for so many years specifically, is because we've done a lot of inner work. Like mi gente, when we were at our shop, when we were in these worlds and we were working with people, we didn't just like wake up one day and decide, bueno, today
It seems like a fun thing to do.
I think I want to help people today.
Oh my
Vamos,
God,
let's
have
go.
fun. It's the most easiest thing in the world to want to do.
That didn't happen overnight. Like it started, we were doing years of a lot of inner exploration and
Yeah.
sifting
And we all started very young. I mean, I started when at the age of 13.
So, right, exactly. So then finally to get to a place that we were consciously able to say, hey, let's actually create a space and be intention about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to work with people. By that time, we already had a pretty decent foundation in terms of who we are as an individual, with a lot of inner work, with experience and working with people. And yet, we were so young and there was still so much to learn. So,
this is the truth.
Fast forward to today, it's one of the reasons why we can be around so many different people that can be so incredibly eccentric and so many different temperaments, and kind of be completely comfortable and at home with everybody and loving everybody up, because, we've built those muscles.
Oh
but
my God.
They did not happen overnight, and it's
and
always
it
a
says
constant
so much.
thing.
Look, it says so much. These days, you can't even take a picture with someone
Oh, yeah.
without you criminal, guilty. Oh my God, the PEREZ. If only you knew the amount of people we've taken pictures with.
Exactly.
Sometimes human beings that we've never had a conversation with. But the way social media is, they will come out with the bochinche of a lifetime.
The bochinche of a lifetime.
Create a relationship that doesn't even exist.
And we have,
And it's ridiculous. And then if they don't like the person in the picture,
or if it's a controversial person,
Cancelled.
te jodiste.
te jodiste. Cancel culture is real, gente.
But the thing is it's kind of like the video you posted
New York stands together.
it's like the picture the video we posted, I would say in the last week, where we're talking about judgments, and to your point about, you see somebody in a picture with somebody, or you see somebody in an event, and all of a sudden there's all this judgment about, like, people size you up, like, oh, oh, you were in that event? Oh, I know how you be now.
You're
You
in
know,
a cult.
and they come up with all these things. Meanwhile, fast forward, you could have been passing through. You could have just been there for a friend, or maybe you were there because you did want to.
Or
Whatever
maybe you
it
were
was,
there because it
but
was part of your job to be there.
exactly. But all
We
of
are
a sudden,
independent content creators and we
right,
film things
and we go to different
of
places.
all sorts of subjects, and that's the fucking thing that drives me crazy, community members.
It's fascinating.
Do you know what drives me nuts?
Tell us,
Is-
tell us what drives
and
you
this
nuts.
is an example
Dino,
of
Dino.
the person working on themselves. Two things. Just because you see the Perez sisters in different places doesn't mean that we're co-signing, doesn't mean that all of a sudden we agree with that totality of that human being. We have just spent so much time informing you that my sister and I are so different.
We're wired so
We're
different.
wired different. But am I gonna break up with her because we have differing point of views? Because
She
maybe
better not.
our politics might be different. Because maybe we like different colors
I'll find you in your
or
dreams.
different people. She will find me in my dreams. And one
Yes.
time I had a tantrum because she was in my dream asking me a lot of questions, and I woke up upset with her. And then that same morning, she was like, I had a dream with you last night, and you were really just upset. You had this tooth phase. I don't know what was going on with you. We meet each other in dream time
We
too.
so
We're very
do.
connected.
We very
And
much do.
as we are connected to the power animals, the animals that we saw today, like me seeing a representation of my beautiful little mini
You
pincher,
babies.
and my sister seeing the angry cat,
Be kidding.
does have a symmetry for us in relationship to what we have currently been experiencing. So my little Shoshe, my little princess, my little lioness, she always had to have the last word. She was always misjudged. People thought that she was a stupid dog. And between me and my other dog, she was, in a sense, the most intelligent one.
She was gangster,
She was
man.
cunning.
Gangsta.
People thought that she was the cutest thing, and she would look at them like, do I need to try to...
She
Are you
was
looking at me like I'm
it's
not a
like
lion?
The word cute was not in her
No,
field.
she was like, are you looking
"That's
at me
not
like
me."
I'm not the lion that I am? I really believe that she was the little dog that would look in the mirror and see a lion, because so when I saw my little lioness version coming and walking down the street, I felt like it was a little wink from my princess, my lioness, my little princess, my little baby doll, winking at me. Can you tell how much I love her and miss her?
Yeah. And no doubt it was.
What was that angry cat sharing with you?
I don't know. Honestly, it kind
That
of
you're
stopped
about
me.
to smack somebody?
Right, and then I start the video like this. The cat
Oh my
was like,
God,
"Meow."
don't move. I'm not gonna hurt you. Don't flinch. I'm not gonna hurt you.
I would say the cat has been speaking to my inner fire that I've been, dealing with lately myself, because I mean, we're all, we all wear many different hats. We're all going through our own different lessons,
Lessons. Are you
and
purging?
yes, and remember last week I explained to you that I'm a new woman.
Explain to me. Oh, that's
And
right.
as a new woman, there's been
We go
purging.
to new places too.
We go to new places. We do new things, but also, you get tested in ways that you as a new woman you may not have quite experienced or don't know always quite how to handle. And so, mi gente, as many times as I've been in a situation of supporting conflict for other people and for myself, I'm still learning. I still get challenged with, situations or dynamics where I'm just like, oh fuck, how am I gonna handle this?
It's not a bad word. I'm triggered. Can you consider using other words, please, that are not curse words?
No.
I just did the eye roll. I'm gonna dedicate that to my beautiful niece.
Oh yeah, that was special.
I look real specials.
So I think the cat is just like, I just think the cat had a very specific vibe of being focused, looked pissed off, but it looked very clear cut. about what it was pissed off about, and definitely was a big testament to, I guess, to what I've been navigating through. And I don't feel that pissed offness. Like I think right now, I think I've worked through a lot in recent times, recent recently. But I do have that real. I think I'm now at the others. I'm getting to that other side where I am in that real clear cut, focused clarity. And so, along with that, when you're in that clear cut space, sometimes that can be looked at as you're being angry, or a little bit too much. When in reality, you just know what you want or need, and you're very clear about it. You know,
This Aries is proud.
easy peasy. And to sort of show you, look at the stone that I'm rocking
Ooh,
today.
I know what that is.
You know, look at the clarity.
Is that an Azez?
So no, it's not.
No?
No, here, touch it. So just to show you how nothing is coincidental, everything's synchronistic.
nice.
So I grabbed this clear stone today, and because it was all about the clarity and the focus, and then all of a sudden that cat comes in like clear green eyes, laser focus, intense. So
I have
yeah,
something to show you. You think it's just you?
hold on. But to my sister's point, everything that you see, hear, witness, smell, everything, dreams, it is some form of guidance, whether it's a confirmation, whether it's here, pay attention to this, whether it's, kind of mirroring something that you already know. Like it depends on you, the situation, the moment, but the universe, or if you want to say God, whichever one you're more comfortable with.
I'm just triggered by what you said.
Personally, I feel it's the same vibration.
Source. Can you say Mother, Father, Sky?
I feel that the way that they communicate, that energy communicates with us, is through symbols most of the time. Most of the time, it's not going to be this clear cut, really clearly written, Alex, you need to do this, even though I would appreciate that happens sometimes. But most of the time, it's through symbols, the animals, the crystals, the random poetry that you see on a corner, a random friend that calls you and says something, a stranger that you hear their conversation. It just happens to sound like they're speaking to you. So, mi gente, pay attention to your surroundings. Nothing that you experience is by mistake. And actually, if you sit back and actually stop and make certain connections, you'll see that everybody has examples. Everybody has examples.
Everybody has
like
examples.
That.
What
Yeah.
are your examples? Maybe that's part of your homework.
Now tell us about this guy. You got crystal envy that you had to show me?
This is part of my goddessy.
See that?
You know why? Because I commissioned a beautiful art woman who makes these things, and this is a pendant.
I love it. And tell us about that crystal, buddy.
It's nicknamed the Magician's Stone. Please do not get triggered, Catholicos, as we see a version of Chauchet here in this restaurante.
Another one.
What's the energy? What are the messages telling me as I read the oracle of the universe? Be careful of Ra's thorns.
The fuego, the lion,
Even a rose has
The roar.
thorns, because when you mishandle a rose and you just grab her because you think you can and you're entitled to, you might start bleeding with those thorns.
It's so
Everything in
true.
nature has some sort of a defense.
Everything.
And I think that this is the season that I am in. Everything around me is saying Ra is in her lioness season.
And I didn't tell you who this buddy is, but this is actually a girasol opal.
Oh yeah.
Girasol actually translates to sunflower, pero
Love that plant.
it is very gentle, very cleansing, and fantastic and supportive to have around energetically, symbolically, or even just aesthetically, whenever you are in that space of sifting, of figuring stuff out, of being and sitting in your clarity, when you're trying to meditate and have clear connections. Meditation, aka prayer, they sort
Sitting
of go
in
hand in hand.
stillness,
Or
observing
mindful
the
breathing.
environment.
Right,
Breathing,
right.
observing. listening in silence, listening to music. Please don't get triggered. This is why at Botanical we always use universal words. And in our 10 years of having that business and talking to the community members, we realized quickly that if we were going to make headway with the community that we were serving, using universal terms were really what we would share with most people. You use your terminology, but these days, especially where people are in so many different pockets and groups and they use their lingo.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're communicating with someone and you're looking at them like they're so crazy stupid. Give you an example, like when the doctors are telling someone about their condition and they're using all the jargon and you're like, the window?
Okay.
The breakfast table?
Again, going back to what we were saying earlier about literally you're talking two different languages.
Right, like how
You know.
can we make an effort to look at your communication style? Does your communication style need a little revision, need a little touch up?
Ouch. It's just, mi gente, it's not easy. It's not easy when you gotta do all that inner work, like adulting.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry,
If you heard me.
adulting has its days where you want to kind of just not do it. Pero going back to what we had said at the top of the conversation, accountability, like obviously we could talk about accountability from so many angles for so many reasons, pero starting with yourself, like, and specifically focusing on communication and in just understanding what you need and how you're communicating, like we got to take that accountability to make the time to understand that about yourself, to review, to integrate. Like that takes time, mi gente. And sister reminder to be patient too, because when you are working, doing this inner work, like mira, it doesn't happen overnight. You're gonna fall off the wagon many times. It happens to all of us
every time.
all the time. Pero you will get
Find
it.
yourself in the same similar place. But are you in the same similar place?
No, you're not.
What lesson have you learned? What lesson have you integrated?
Right. What lesson do you still have to integrate? Or what part of the lesson you still have not fully understood? So you're never, ever, ever, whenever you feel like there's a pattern, yes, there's a pattern on one level. Whenever you're repeating lessons, yes, you're repeating it for a reason, but you're never at the same spot. There's always some sort of something that has shifted within you that makes you ready for the next level of that lesson. So be open, be kind, be patient, pero you gotta take the accountability.
Are you ready to see these cute, adorable little faces on a worldwide traveling tour? We're seeking sponsorships
Yes.
and
Well,
coffee sponsorships.
We may be coming to a city near you.
This is what we want. We're
Have a
setting those
little
intentions right
chance.
now. The Perez sisters have a lot to communicate with the audience that wants to hear the Perez sisters. You guys know that we do other things. Please subscribe to our newsletters.
Por
Please
favor.
subscribe to our content creating. If you want to, it's your choice.
I know you can't be telling people what to do.
If you want to, it's your independent choice. But we would love it. And if you want to make a donation, because we're 100,000% independent, we love it. Buy us a coffee.
Mi gente, no amount is too small. It all adds up. But
Yes.
we are grateful for your donations. They are
For your
incredibly
loves,
helpful.
for your subscriptions.
When when someone are independent creators, there's a lot of expenses, and
So many expenses.
these things help fuel and allow us to continue.
And we do get invited to cover a lot of boots on the ground news reportings that we would love to. But you know, there are things that require a lot of time. There's a lot of editing involved, creating graphics. All this takes time. Like
A lot of tedious
this
things.
endeavor for us, you may not see it. This is just one of the channels that we're feeding. It's a 7-day-a-week thing. We're doing something every day.
Something's
in some
always
way.
happening.
We are also filling our delicious us cups. And one last thing. Did you do your homework last week?
Did you do your homework?
Did you do your homework? So I have to make a confession. I did part of it.
Oh, what was
The homework was call someone that you haven't spoken to in a while.
okay?
Just pick up the phone and make a connection. And I a family date.
Okay. Well, you were very, very good because I didn't. I definitely had thought about, and then I didn't.
Bolas.
And then I didn't, mi gente. I did not do
Oh
it.
my God, that means next week she has double homework.
That means that I have to show up for real next week with
You need to
my
call.
life.
This week's homework is simple.
We like simple.
And it could be in which celebrate an elder in your life.
Mm.
However you want to, but make direct contact. It could be a text message if the person receives text message. It could be a facito, but our elders
They need love
They need love.
and attention.
Yeah, and they're very lonely. I mean, I know that there's a huge loneliness epidemic, and I know there's a lot of need the community to start coming back together. We look forward in having these boots on the ground cafecito breaks with more of you
In person.
in person, the way we used to when we were at the Beehive. We would do a live stream. We would have some lunch.
Ooh, so
we would invite other
good.
people.
That's
and
right. We
off
would have
the camera.
We would have guests.
Off the camera, we had lots of fun. Yeah, we would have guests. Imagine.
It was a
Don't
lot
you
of fun.
just want to sponsor this?
Just let us know. You just contact information below this video. I just want to also take a moment to say thank you once again to everybody who has subscribed and liked our videos, commented, and or have left us messages.
We
We appreciate your love in every capacity, and I just want you to know that just those simple acts of subscribing or liking energizes anything and everything that we do, and it is very helpful. So thank you so much. Bueno, mi
I have
gente.
to finish my mystery drink.
Oh yeah, her mystery drink. Her little mystery drink.
Bye, community members.
Ciao. You all have a blessed week.